Hi everybody, it's great to be with you, and we're today talking about the Religious Advisory Committee to the Services. RACS, as it's known, is a multi-faith committee that looks at the religious, spiritual and pastoral elements for the Defence Force. It's made up of various faith groups: Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, Jewish and Christian members. And what we're going to do today is to discuss how the defence values fit in with our faith groups, or how our faith groups fit in with those defence values.
Jesus inspires me. It's the way the stories of Jesus capture how Jesus connected with the people.
The Sikh Holy Scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib.
The epic book called Bhagavad Gita, one-stop shop for the whole Hindu faith understanding.
You know, the deep understanding in Buddhism of compassion, and compassion points to the interconnectedness of all beings.
It'd be God, and it'd be the prophet that I consider the last prophet who brought my guidance as a human being, and that is the Quran. So in essence, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and God.
Well, my source of inspiration is obviously God, and I like the way it was expressed by the poet Dylan Thomas, the force that drives the fuse through everything.
My source obviously is Jesus and the Gospels, but it's encouraged clearly by the Christian communities that I belong to, by many people who witnessed in the ADF, by my parents and my friends.
Absolutely. I'm an ex-serving member. Okay, was a chaplain, but for all the commanding officers I had, for all of the bosses that I had, every single one of them was very supportive, encouraging. In fact, were even proactive to enable people of all faiths to practice their faith traditions, either in the context of the field, in barracks, or even on operations.
Yes, I think that the ADF makes it possible, and in most circumstances makes it comfortable to be able to practice one's traditions.
Not a problem. None of the boys or girls have even complained once that they couldn't, because they can practice it freely. They do not have too many demands, and if they have problems, they are listened to.
Definitely. As a Christian, you can practice your Christianity wherever you find yourself. And within the ADF, there is room made for people to practice their faith, whatever that may be. I've actually found that being a member of the ADF has actually enhanced my spiritual life and made me even better at everything that I do.
I, as a Muslim, look to try and practice my faith wherever I am. So I see the ADF as being one family from many families in my society and the avenues that I'm involved in. So I'd say a big definite, I can practice it. And if someone says, well, are there any difficulties? Well, the answer is there's difficulties practicing my faith everywhere in the world.
They all arise from the first one, the service. And service is a very strong part of the Sikh religion, and all Sikhs take it as part of their being to serve, right? Doesn't matter what it is, where it is, however dangerous it is, they just get out there and serve.
I think there's a lot of congruence between the ADF values and the values that Jesus espoused in the Christian faith. The value of courage. It's not always about being a hero. Sometimes it's about just turning up every day.
Courage is, again, what it means to put yourself out for others, whether by actions or through speech. looking out for other people's greater good.
But respect, of course, is really core. Respect is such an important part of our life, our practice. And respecting ourselves is so important. Respecting others in the sense of reaching out beyond ourselves.
And the value of respect, loving your neighbour, the ones who are just like me and the ones who are different.
I think one of the best definitions of integrity comes from the Talmud, where it recalls for us that in the temple, the most holy place that was there was the Holy Ark. And the Ark itself, which contained the tablets, the Ten Commandments, and the Torah, that Ark was covered by gold, both within and outside. Why did it have to be covered by gold inside? Who saw the inside? But I think that's the very point, that God sees the inside. We know what's inside. Integrity is when our inside and our outside match. That's what makes us an authentic person. That's what makes us a mensch.
So this whole idea of integrity, it runs through the scriptures, and we are to be people who live and act just as God would have us to do and have that integrity.
Excellence is one of the three dimensions of the Islamic religion. So in our tradition, the angel Gabriel once came to the Prophet Muhammad and asked him, what is excellence? And he said, excellence is that you worship God as though you see him, and even though you don't see him, to surely know that he sees you. So this idea of always being vigilant of that which is around you and doing the right thing and being the best that you can to all people.
The ADF values are very, very closely aligned to the traditions of the Christian Church. It is very, very easy for us to actually outwork the ADF values because they 100% line up with the values that we are encouraged to hold. Being a person of excellence, a person of integrity, these are things which are inherently part of being a good Christian.
For our tradition, it is exactly perfectly aligned with the traditional values of Hindu faith, and then it continues, and from there, because it's all ancient, it comes from traditions.
Very close alignment. There's a seamless relationship between the ADF values and my faith.
Well, for me, being a follower of Jesus is a whole of life experience. And so it means at the beginning of the day, I take some time to reflect, to pray. And at the end of the day, I check in and see if I've done everything okay. There would always be some things. I might be aiming for excellence, but when I don't meet it, I know I've got the opportunity to be forgiven and to try again tomorrow.
Well, each of those values has to be translated into action. Respect is about how I care about other people. Service is what I can do for other people. Courage is how I can inspire other people. Each of these values we need to live in our lives, and by reaching out to others and by taking care of ourselves and ensuring that we are the best people that we can possibly be.
The practical ways, what our faith says is that when someone is in need or someone requires help, give a hand, help them. Someone is in trouble, give them a spiritual aspect of strength, courage, cajole, and at the same time boost his morale by teaching the values of the Hindu faith.
Without integrity, one can't be courageous, really. It requires us to be in right relationship to ourselves and to the world around us. And from that perspective, courage is not, it's not a personal, it's not a kind of girding oneself. It's about, actually relinquishing oneself.
How do you do that? What do you do to live that out, to make it practical? And so, some of the things might be that we would be talking about to fill our minds with the things that are wholesome and good. So we'd be reading the scriptures and looking at good stories and listening to things and filling our mind with those things, because we know that having our mind right really helps us to do that. And then, another just a practical thing to do is, if we've got one of being, our value of being servants, then just to actually go and be a servant, to help around the house, or to help in the unit, to volunteer to do these things. Because if you see yourself as a servant, then there's always plenty of things that you can be doing.
I've got 5 daily prayers that I need to do as a Muslim, and so when I take time out of my busy day, it allows me to realign with my purpose in the day, in the night, because sometimes we can get a bit distracted, as we usually do, in our buzzing, engaged lives. So for me, that time out in prayer, in devotion, allows me to realign my spiritual compass and then go back to whatever it is that I was doing, to be able to fulfill not only those 5 amazing values, but so many other values that are important to me in life.
One of the things I love about Jesus' teaching is the fact that he gave us practical examples of how to actually live in a world that is very complex. We see stories like the Good Samaritan. We see stories like the unfair judge. We see people who are given very, very practical outworkings of how they should actually live. I love that one of the things Jesus said to the soldiers was that they should stop complaining about their wages and they should obey those who lead them. He has an attitude and a way of speaking that makes faith practical. And I find that the values of Christianity align very, very practically with the values of the ADF. And it actually helps you outwork your life in everything that you do.
Because it's another family in the many families that we have in Australia. And Australia is definitely a multicultural society, and Defence is very multicultural, and they're very keen to ensure that people can also practice their faith within Defence.
The Australian Defence Force offers some great opportunities for people to serve, and professionally there's a lot of development, but as humans we bring our faith to the place where we live and work.
One of the greatest ways you can serve your country is to actually serve in the Australian Defence Force. Not everyone will feel that urge or that calling or that sense of purpose, but if someone did feel that sense of national pride and a desire to actually serve their nation, I believe that that very much aligns with something that is built within us, a desire to make a difference and to be something, a part of something that is bigger than ourselves.
Oh, it's in the blood. They have a blood that is a fighter's blood. They have a whole history of fighting. Many of them have ancestors or relatives that fought in different wars, from the First World War, even before that, Second World War, and they're still serving in all parts of the world, in all the different services, that wherever they may be.
To join the profession of arms is an individual decision, and it's not for everybody. But for people who have a desire to serve others, to serve their nation, whether domestically or overseas, then the Australian Defence Force is clearly a place where you are able to do that and certainly apply. It will carry its challenges, absolutely, but you will find that service and service to others and service to the nation brings its own reward.
For me and for many practicing Buddhists, our practice is very much about, offering in any way we can support and service and compassion, wisdom, etc., as a way to enable others to find the path and to remain on the path.
Defence offers a great opportunity for us to be that servant, to be serving the Lord and serving the nation. And so that's what we would be encouraging our people to consider as they do that. They can live out their faith in a practical way and be bringing help and joy to people around about them.
Judaism has always considered our contribution to the society around us as a paramount value. We don't only take, we give. And the best place that we can give is to the society around us. One of the best ways of giving and service is therefore in an organisation like the ADF. It allows us to share our talent, it allows us to share our faith, it allows us to recognise the faith of others, it allows us to recognise the needs and aspirations of others, and it allows us and it helps us work together as a nation, as a people.
Can I just read out something from our church, from the Vatican Council 50 years ago, which I think sums it up very clearly. Those who engage in the military should consider themselves as custodians of people's security and freedom. For when they properly exercise their ministry and their military service, they truly contribute to the maintenance of peace.